All right, Natalie. This is now the end of your third week. How'd this week go?
Really good. This was the easiest week by far.
So it's getting easier and easier. How's your assessment of hunger? How's that going?
You mean as far as being able to tell, or if I'm hungry, or?
Yeah, how's the overall assessment of hunger? How's the hunger?
Yeah.
Still manageable?
Still very manageable. I don't think once in this 3 weeks I've eaten everything that I could eat. Mm-hmm. You know, there was one day where I did everything but finished up the crackers, and it was after I walked a bunch. Mm-hmm. And this week I've been walking. I probably did the 3-mile loop at the Arboretum 3 times.
That's because it's so freaking nice
it's so
out.
Beautiful. I know, but normally before, if it's really beautiful out, I want to open the windows of my bedroom and lay in bed and watch TV.
Yeah. Can you believe it? Now you're just like, I want out.
Yeah, I want to go outside. I want to be or maybe I'll lay in the backyard, which I did do a little bit. But
so basically, what I'm gleaning from this is that your energy is improving.
Yeah. Which I did not believe would happen, to be honest.
No one believes it. Does anybody believe when I say you're not going to be hungry enough to finish 500 calories and you're going to have way more energy? Who believes that?
Yeah, no.
I know.
And the other thing is,
I'm not a liar.
Drive
is better.
Yeah.
That's normal for most people.
Crazy better.
Some people it's like, ugh, but most everybody feels like more randy.
Yeah, and I think part of it is I feel so much better about myself. Like, I'm so much more accepting. Like, I could not lose another pound, like I've said, and I would truly be okay. You know, I feel okay with it.
You know what's really funny is that men and women are so different. Men feel better about themselves when they can have sex.
Yeah.
Women feel better about themselves and then they'll have sex.
Exactly.
Isn't that funny?
Mm-hmm. And the other crazy thing is, after 3 kids, I always had to make sure I went to the bathroom, my bladder was empty, because if I sneeze, I will pee myself. I haven't done that.
Okay, so how much pressure on your bladder was the fat that may have been intra-organ fat? That makes me think there's something going on with, that's fascinating. Okay,
yeah.
I'm sorry.
But what's crazy, it's not just this week.
The pelvic floor is
It was
changing.
After the first week, because I realized it was like less, and then I forgot. I mean, I wasn't wearing a pad. Like, I would think, okay, if I'm going to go exercise, I got to wear a pad. If I'm going to go be jumping around, I need to. I didn't even think about it.
You know, have you jump roped? Jump rope is one of my favorite things with patients or clients when I was training, because it really helps develop your pelvic floor. Jump rope, yes.
Wow, that's what I would always avoid, because then I would pee myself.
Well, that's why I would say to the women, wear a pad, but eventually, because we're developing your pelvic floor, you won't have to anymore. So it was an exercise to develop strength, not to embarrass you because you were peeing yourself.
Yeah.
But anyhow, that's awesome.
Yeah, so that's my two big takeaways. I'm not peeing myself, and I want to have sex with my husband. You know?
And he's got to love it. He's just like...
Oh, yeah. He's like...
feeling better about yourself, because you're feeling better about yourself and wanting to...
Well, he's working out now. Like, he was doing it a little bit. Now he's doing it with more regularity. I didn't say anything. You know, now suddenly
because he's a porn star right now.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah.
He wants to build himself up for the moment you're into it again. That's hilarious. But that's great. All of this is really good.
Yeah, and I went I went to a pageant last weekend in St. Cloud, so I stayed for the weekend. I go every year with some friends, and there's friends I hadn't seen for a while, and they noticed, and were like, wow, you look really good.
Something different.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. And one of my friends, she comes up to me and she goes, yeah, I can definitely tell you lost weight. And at that time, I had lost like 13 pounds. And she looks at me like she doesn't believe me. She's like, your face looks that different with 13 pounds. Like, she thought I had work done. Yeah. I think is what she was thinking.
Serious?
Yeah. I said, no. I said, I'm away from, gluten, which tends to bloat me, especially in my face. Mm-hmm. I said, no, I'm just, I said, no, it was because I weighed Thursday. I saw her Sunday. I'm like, yeah, no, that's all.
Well, that's the thing. It's like the number on the scale does not really do it justice.
Yeah.
It's so minimizing. It's so shallow. It's just so, like, seriously, if we were to focus solely on how much weight you're losing right now, do you know how much of this stuff you would not even be noticing or caring about?
No, I know.
Because you'd be so devastated that during this week you at least plateaued one time. Did you know that?
Oh, during the week you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. You mean if you were to weigh yourself every day?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And then you would have been pissed, called me, and I would have told you to go screw yourself because I told you not to weigh yourself.
Yeah.
But anyhow.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, there's something wrong, even though your energy is great.
Yeah.
Your temperature is colder. Your sex drive is up. Your skin.
Yeah.
Have you noticed the skin changes? Have you noticed the sleeping, the energy, the
Yeah,
heat?
I'm not waking up sweating. Before I was going hot, cold, I wake up sweating my ass off, and then I'd wake up freezing to the point where I was shaking.
Mm-hmm.
That hasn't happened at all.
Yeah, hot flashes, just overall energy. You'd be devastated. You would have been pissed off.
No, I know.
Because the scale said the same thing or went up a half a pound. It's just, seriously, it's so childish.
Yeah. Well, like this week, I didn't lose a ton, but I'm like, I don't care, because I come in thinking I'm going to be exactly the same.
Do you know
I'm
how
getting
much,
rid of the expectation.
based on the scale, since we do weigh you once a week, how much that if you were to see the amount of fat lost, the amount of size that is.
Yeah.
So that's the difference too. It's like you may not be seeing a lot on the scale, but your size. If you were to computate based on your size change, you probably assumed it was going to be less than this, right?
Less than what I weighed
that
today.
Number. If you were to say when you started compared to where you are today, you probably look in the mirror and go, oh, this is what I used to look like at 155.
Yeah. No, there's friends who I didn't see for a while, so they haven't seen me the last few weeks, who thought I lost 30 pounds.
Correct.
It's
and that's
double. It's like double.
And that's what it looks like.
Yeah. And I noticed the wear, I'm losing it. Like I went through a drawer. It's like I have new clothes. I went, because I have clothes that go from size 4 to size like 12. Maybe I have one size 14 dress. So I pulled out one of my drawers, and I got like 3 pairs of pants now that I can wear. And they fit. And I'm like, wow, look, this is like, and I try to look back as to when did I buy those and what my weight was. My weight might be a little higher right now, but I think my size is smaller. Because
that's
I can fit those clothes.
Correct. And so when people get obsessed over the scale, they don't get it.
Yeah.
It's like it's like being a teenager who can't see past their nose.
Yeah, it's almost
there's no appreciation, there's no foresight, there's no intelligence behind anything they're doing. It's just crazy. But it's the diet industry for you.
And
that's
it's like
happens.
the food addiction. The scale, it's just as bad. And that's one thing I've been working on more, because the food now, especially this last week, was so easy. It just didn't feel hard. I had no cravings. Oh, the other thing interesting that's been going on is I love watching people eat. It's like my new porn.
I could see that.
Oh,
and the Food Channel, you watching Food Network?
No,
Food Channel,
not
Travel?
that so much. But like I took
seeing what they're eating,
friend out to lunch,
smelling it.
I smell
what does it taste like? Oh yeah, good for you.
I took him out and I said, oh, you got to have dessert. And so I'm like, I made him. I'm like, he kind of wanted it, but I watched him eat it.
Yeah. What does it taste like?
Yeah, but I was okay with not having it. It's this new sense of appreciation I feel like I have for food. Like I see it. I had lunch with a girlfriend today. She had a veggie wrap, and I was like, it might as well have been a Picasso. I'm like, that is the most beautiful wrap I've ever seen. I'm like, look at this, the colors.
You should.
I'm so passionate about it,
and the
so
fresh
beautiful
and like organic. Just think about the apple or the orange, just the orange in itself. Have you had an orange yet where you're just thinking, really, this is God's candy?
Yeah.
There is no candy that can duplicate this magnificent flavor. That is just so incredible. Or the colors in real food. You cannot. That's such a beautiful thing, and that's how you should feel. So many people are afraid of themselves that they're afraid to even appreciate food because of how vulnerable they are emotionally.
And I wanted to let go of that. I didn't want to not be around it, and I didn't want, friends that I see regularly or I have lunch with, and I've let them know, hey, it's like, eat what you want and don't apologize.
Yeah, it's
So
not
like they'll
hurting
order
you.
dessert and go, I'm sorry. I'm like, you know what?
Like you're being
I
deprived.
said eat it because I watched them eat it and I'm like, oh, you like that pie, don't you?
Yeah,
You know?
and then you're like, and you feel gross now, don't you? Oh, you're full. Can you feel the indigestion? Are you getting hot? Yeah, it's funny, but it's, that's so good because I want you to be, and you should want to be more picky about the food you put, and you want it to look good.
Yeah.
You want to have the color, you want to have the flavor, and to be at one with organic nature, because we are organic.
Yeah.
We as humans are such a part of the earth, and I think that the food and the sustenance of the earth is really important.
Yeah.
And it has to be something you need to be passionate about.
And making food, I'm having a friend over for dinner with my family tonight. I'm making an entire dinner that I can't eat because I'm on the, very low calorie protocol part. And so I'll make a couple things, like I'll pull some salad out before I douse it in the dressing. I'll do stuff like that.
Oh, and you should put tons of care and love in the food you're making. And make it good. You want them to be like,
and I want to see them. I'm even like making, because I'm making a Hawaiian themed dinner. So I'm making Mai Tais, and I'm so excited about mixing cocktails, even though I'm not drinking it. When I was gone this weekend at that pageant, normally when I go, you have a cocktail.
Oh, absolutely.
And all that. None of that, and it was fine. It was fine. And one of my friends, we had lunch the next day, and two of them had Bloody Marys, and I'm like, well, I'm not drinking right now. I have some time, before I go. Before I start drinking again. I said, but you know what? I said, you enjoy your Bloody Mary in St. Cloud, because I'm going to be on a beach in Hawaii.
That's right.
Rum.
Exactly. With my person who's bringing it to me, my waiter.
But I give it more, I guess, value in a way, even from the food to even the drinks. I'm like, why would I just want to drink that? If I'm going to have that, I'm going to be in, with the ambiance and all that stuff.
So that it's not, the access to food is not as valuable as the real experience.
Yeah.
Okay, now you flip the switch to where it should be. This is why people look at me and they're like, Robin, how do you do this? I'm like, I'm really picky about what I do eat when I do get to eat. If I have the choice, it's going to be really good.
Yeah.
And there is no guilt.
Yeah.
Because I'm hungry and I can eat anything I want. I'm not depriving myself of anything. And if I'm having a craving for chocolate, I'm going to have chocolate, and it's going to be really, really good chocolate.
Yeah.
Why would I waste my hunger that I wait for on crap?
Yeah.
It's not worth it.
Exactly.
So there's no guilt, and I never go beyond an excess. I never get to where I'm full, because that's just, more is not better. To me, quality and taste and I really put more value into the taste and the experience. I totally agree.
Yeah, and then don't avoid, like I took that to heart when you talk about not avoiding social situations because you're not eating. Why would I not go out to dinner with friends? Well, and that used to be my viewpoint before when I used to diet was, well, I don't want to go out to dinner because I can't have anything anyways.
Yeah, it's not about your friends, right?
No, but turns out it was never about my friends. It was about me shoving food into my face.
And now it's about your friends, and aren't you just really having a much better time?
Yeah, normally I'm a really fast eater because, I got to eat it before someone takes it away, or I don't have another meal. Used to be kind of my mentality. And I find myself, because I'm talking and I'm so engaged in the other person, that I'm like, wow, I only ate half of this, and then I realize actually I'm not hungry. Whereas before, food first, friends second.
Yeah.
Which I'm surprised I have friends at all now.
I'm not surprised, because you're
unless they were
very lovely and funny and fun to be around, but
unless they were friends who wanted to go binge with me. Friends like that too.
How are those friends doing with the non-binging Natalie?
Well, my one good friend who is more like me is doing the program.
Okay,
so,
so that helps. That helps for sure.
Yeah, and my other friends, interestingly, mostly have really good relationships with food. They're the not finish their food. Who I eat the most with, like my sister. you know, she's hungry, she eats. She's like, I'm like, you have 4 pieces of the pie, eat it, bitch. I can hardly stand it. But she's like, I'm done. I'm just not hungry. Yeah. And that's why she's always the size that she is without that, you know.
And you're thinking she got better genetics than I do.
Yeah, but I did find one of my friends who I never would have thought had any emotional eating just based on her size. We got to talking about it because I was telling her about your book and what I'm doing. And she's like, I want to read that. And I'm kind of looking at her. She's like, I do it all the time, but she works out.
Oh yeah, so she's got an exercise disorder. That's her purge.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Exercise bulimia.
Yeah.
Yep. That has been existing since the beginning of, you know, the whole commercialized exercise issue. I mean, it's part of the binge.
Yeah.
And it's miserable. To be honest with you, it's 2 disorders, not just one.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine binging and then feeling like you have to go exercise for an hour or 2 to fix it?
Yeah.
No, that's insanity. So it's almost worse. She needs to read my book. That's for sure.
Yeah.
To kind of let go of that miserable pendulum swing. It's miserable. It's insanity.
My walking I've been doing, it's kind of hilly, you know, at the Arboretum. It's the only times I've ever done it. Not because I was trying to lose weight.
It's so beautiful, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, it's gorgeous. But I'm walking and I'm like, I don't care. If I don't feel like going fast, I don't go fast. I'm so beautiful out and I'm looking at birds. Part of me didn't even remember that there were birds there, which is so stupid. But because I was so caught up, like when I used to eat, I'm so into the food that I'm not paying attention to anyone around me. When I would go for a walk or whatever, I'm so into how many calories am I burning,
oh my God,
how much farther can I go, that I'm not noticing this amazing surrounding. Sometimes I feel like my friends are going to think I'm on LSD or something because I'm like, look how beautiful that hawk is. Do you see that?
You are so grounded right now. This is really normal. That tells you how abnormal most people are.
Yeah, and I've never felt normal.
Well, this is like you are one with the earth, honey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, everything.
You're in a whole different level of energy.
Yeah.
It's called a shift of consciousness.
Yeah.
Have you felt the trees breathing yet?
Yeah.
Because I've been there.
I feel like they're looking at me as I walk about.
They're alive.
You know? But to have, like, I would have thought, and there's still a little bit of me, like I was just coming in this week and I'm like, okay, I'm going to get on the scale. And I thought, you know what, I really do feel, there's like a little bit of, you know, like just this tiniest bit of chatter still going on, but I'm like, I'm really okay with it because I feel so good.
Yep.
That
good.
Whatever.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't.
No.
It's not going to take away. You could have weighed 169 pounds and you'd be like, I don't give a shit because this is so awesome. Mm-hmm. That's beautiful. So you're separating. That's a big separation.
I'm starting to get it, and I'm starting to like go, okay.
Have you had that with your own body yet? Where you're like, this is the most amazing flesh and blood ever.
Oh yeah, I used to just go from take my clothes off in my room so I didn't have to see the bathroom mirror and then run into the shower. You know, now I'm practically stripping in front of my sink. You know,
totally. Well, and looking at look at yourself anatomically and how incredible it is that a human being. You have children, right?
Yeah, 3.
Came out of your body. You didn't die. Your body created other human beings. And did you nurse?
Yeah.
Okay. Look at your boobs in the mirror and just be fascinated by the fact that not only can they manipulate your husband, but they literally fed your children and kept your children alive for quite some time. I mean, isn't that just miraculous?
Yeah, I'm even seeing the stretch marks a little different.
I hope so.
It used to be really hard for me to look at.
Well, you had to make room, your body.
Yeah, exactly. But, you know, when I stand there and I'm like, you know, I'm not going to go do any nude modeling anytime soon, but I feel comfortable in my own skin for the first time. I've been a size 4 and was not comfortable in my own skin. I felt inadequate. I still felt fat.
Yeah, but that didn't come, if you think about the source of that inadequacy, it had nothing to do with your body.
Exactly, but because I thought it did, for the 5 minutes that I was that size, I thought everything would be better. It wasn't.
I hope everybody out there heard that because it's the truth. How many people lose weight, gain it back, lose it, realize that it didn't do anything for them. And if they thought it did, when they did gain their weight back, it felt like it's almost just, it's like I don't know, think about it. If you lost 100 pounds and thought you were a better person because you lost 100 pounds and then gained that fat back, how would that feel?
Yeah.
Worse. You know, so detaching, and this is when I talk about when you detach your soul from the body, when you can kind of take the two and go, whoop, there's a difference between the two.
Mm-hmm.
You are not your body. You are not your flesh and blood. It's just the thing you're here communicating with.
Mm-hmm.
And what gives you value is your soul. And has your soul really changed since you were born? Has it really?
Not really.
It hasn't, has it?
Yeah.
You're just actually turning to look at it again. Before you ignored it and looked at everything outside of yourself.
I ignored it and listened to the crazy voices.
And the people and the judgment and the people who were judging you, and you thought that what they were judging you by was reality, and it's like you're all of a sudden you think your soul is the outside world, and it's not. And right now we're saying, hey, look, your soul is unique and it's so special and it's not defined by your body, and now you're looking at the outside world and actually and loving it.
Yeah.
Because you're living in a totally different level of consciousness.
And it's more outside of my head. You know, I'm realizing now that I'm really seeing how much I obsessed about food and weight. You know, you'd think I would have been stick thin, obsessing as much as I did about food and weight, but that wasn't the case. I just obsessed about it.
When was the moment that you went, there had to have been a moment where you went, oh my God,
well,
seriously.
It feels like each week a switch flips on something, you know, and then it just gets a little bit, you know, clearer. You know, the first week I was just kind of in a daze, I think, on this, though I found the eating has to be difficult. The second was really rough emotionally because I finally started dealing with things, and I think this week, because I feel so much more open, I feel like I finally went, you know what, whatever it is, then bring it. Whatever's going to happen, because I'm just going to look at it, I'm going to deal with it, and if it makes me upset, I'm going to get upset. If it makes me cry, I'm going to cry. And everybody else is just going to have to freaking deal with it, you know, because what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to eat it. No,
but because that doesn't do anything, and it also enables you to be weaker and weaker and weaker inside. So you end up feeling more vulnerable to anything that occurs. So but once you take on that first big emotional wave and you don't fight it, all of a sudden your sense of like confidence in life, just life in general, changes. So what used to bug you before doesn't bug you anymore.
Exactly. And I also have more confidence. Like before last week, I was thinking, I'm so afraid to go off the HCG, which I'm sure is common, and go back to doing it on my own. And by the end of this week, just in the last few days, I'm like, you know, I can do it. And the reason, what I realize is why I could do it, because it doesn't matter. I'm not doing it for a number on the scale. That doesn't matter.
Oh my gosh.
Because if I do, and I do what I used to do, which is weigh every day and write it down for years in a book. I'm going to set fire to that my journal of mine too. When I'm all done, I'm going to build a bonfire and take my journal of years of weighing myself every day and writing it down. I'm going to throw that bitch in the fire.
I also get a gun and go.
Yeah. I just video it, put it on YouTube.
Please, that would be great. There was the wonderful thing about this is I talk about this, and a lot of times people hear like, that would be great. They're looking at it from the outside. This whole concept of not being defined by the scale, not worrying about food, not being obsessed about the way your body looks, and obsessed about your next binge and how you're going to end up burning it off. It's almost like a dream that's away. And what's happened is that you've actually created that feeling. You actually are now processing and creating that view. I told you about it, and now you're creating it and you're believing it.
Yeah, and you free up. I think when you free up your attention, you free up time. And I always used to joke before, I always said, you know, if I didn't obsess so much about food and weight, I could probably solve world peace on my own.
Hello!
Because all the time I'd have on my hands.
How much money have you put towards your body, your fat, and diets, and time that you've spent memorizing diets? If you went to school with that money in that time, how many PhDs would you have, and would cancer be
exactly
solved?
Exactly. Or just the money I spent on Spanx alone. You know, I made that woman a billionaire. Just with me.
You did.
You know?
Oh my gosh, Natalie. Seriously, if you could say anything to someone that's listening to this and they're seeing things from the outside, looking in and wanting in so bad, what would you tell them?
Oh my gosh. I think that it's, for one, it can totally change. And it can change fast.
You know what they're saying right now? But how?
But how? Well, I think that doing this whole program. I mean, the hunger scale has been such a simple thing, and it's so simple it's stupid.
I know.
But most people, they don't get it, and when you get it, and to be able to, like, you know, it really is emotional eating rehab, because you're put in an eating plan where all that crap is taken out. So it's like going to rehab when you're an alcoholic.
If you know what the difference is?
Well, you still have to deal with real life.
Correct. Mm-hmm. And isn't that the most brilliant thing ever?
Yeah. You just take the foods out, and it really, it's just, because then you're losing weight, you're feeling better, and then suddenly it becomes not so much about the weight anymore, because you realize, for me, I was emotionally eating, I was eating when I was bored, and I never thought I was bored in a day of my life because I'm so busy, but it turns out I was bored a lot. Mm-hmm. And that moment when I realized, you know, what sensation am I trying to get from that food? You know, this inanimate object, and why aren't I creating that? Why do I need the brownie to make me feel?
Oh my God, Natalie!
Then we'll all start again. So don't.
You need to write the book.
Yeah, well, you wrote the book.
But the funny thing is, like, it's like, this isn't rocket science.
No.
So many people, like, think that there's something outside of them that will fix them. They'll read every book out there. They become an expert on self-healing, but yet they're not healing. Yeah. And it's because they're still seeking, they're searching, they're wondering. It's like, oh my God, when do you turn inward?
Yeah, it's like falling off a boat, and you can swim, but you really don't. You think you're a weak swimmer, and then the little, what do they call that round thing they save you with?
Oh yeah.
Is a ways off. If you had to save your life, your ass would swim, and you would make it.
And that's kind of what I'm telling you to do.
Yeah.
It's like,
I didn't think I could survive without the baked goods. I didn't think I could survive on 500 calories a day. I didn't think I could survive. And I'm
do you remember when I said to you, and I say this to everybody, it's not my job to fix you. Yeah. I'm just going to tell you where to go, and you're the one that's got to do it. Yeah. You know your addiction beyond what I could even comprehend. I get it. I've been there. I probably know exactly what you're thinking, but only you know what creates the vulnerability. Only you know to the depth of that vulnerability. Yeah. Only you are the one who has to want to feel it.
Yeah. And to be willing to accept it. The other thing I think is the lies that we tell ourselves. Well, I'm not an emotional eater, or, well, I only eat when I'm upset. Well, then you must be upset all the time. You know, some people, it's like, stop lying. That was a big thing for me.
Don't you think that lying, though, is to protect their bias towards that addiction? Yeah. You know, when no drug addict thinks they're a drug addict, they just think they're partying and having fun. No, you know, they have every reason why it's okay, but when it comes down to letting it go, they'll kill, they'll hurt, they'll cheat, steal, lie. Hide it. They will sabotage their family, their children, their lives, their career, all money, and everything for that addiction.
Yeah, that's totally true. And I think that was when I feel like I really, you know, it just all started falling into place when I finally went, okay, I'm just going to accept it. And what is it? What's my truth? Like you said, we know our addiction better than anybody. Mm-hmm. You know, and stop the lying. It was mostly lying to myself about it. You know, and it's funny now, and I've had, even my husband commented, because I've done every diet in the book for years, and he's told me the other day, he goes, you are really doing well with this. He's like, this is the first thing I've ever seen you do where I didn't think you were crazy.
Well, it's because you've changed.
Yeah, because I'm not obsessing. And that's what he said, because I would obsess. When I was on Weight Watchers, my obsession became about counting the points and getting right on that number.
And you knew for well there was an end to it. Yeah. You just had to accomplish the weight, and then you're out. You're going back, and then you'll go back to another time.
Yeah, because I never
it's a game.
Yeah.
It's like a stupid, superficial game. Yeah. To just to lose the weight so you can feel better in our superficial society, but then to go back to that real profound desire to eat, to mask and heal, fake healing it is, I know.
Yeah. To get that, you know, to be able to do it yourself and know that, you know what, and then not, you know, the whole being vulnerable thing was huge for me.